Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Hecht Creative. Today we're going over the Marvel Legends Retro Card Apocalypse, the Build-A-Figure Apocalypse, and the Deluxe Apocalypse. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Now let's get to it. So here is the Retro Card Apocalypse. He looks really awesome. I love this look on him. We have a nice bio on the back. Look upon the future and tremble. He is Apocalypse, the world's most powerful mutant, and from the ashes of our world, he will build a better one. Yeah, it looks really nice. Good render over here. We also have the figure up here, some Hasbro stuff and legalese and all those things. The Uncanny X-Men Apocalypse, Ancient Evil, Mal Ancestral sounds awesome. Mal Ancestral, kind of rhymes, I think. Yeah, all these different translations of it. Marvel's Apocalypse, a really cool picture over here. Some more X-Men over here. Uncanny X-Men and the figure itself with all the accessories inside. So let's take a look and see what's what. To unbox this, cut down the middle. Pretty easy to do. Cut along this little ridge up here. Cut into the side on one side all the way down. And then the other side. Remove this. Reach into there carefully on the very bottom. Carefully slide him out. Two separate figure trays here. And now we have Apocalypse. He looks really nice. Let's go over this big guy and see what's what. The head of Apocalypse looks really great. I love this head sculpt. It's wonderfully done. It's reused, but this wash brings out all the good details in it, and the paint too. Looks really nice. The eyes are menacing and piercing. The rest of it is one big blue dome, but I just think this is great. There's a bit of paint missing, but that doesn't detract that this is a wonderful head sculpt and some amazing paint. The body is incredibly simple compared to the head, but there are a lot of good details, like these panels over here, 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 and here. The neck piece that is really nice and angular. The shoulders that are very round and sculpted. And the rest is most likely reused from previous Apocalypse figures. This hand's new, at least to me. I like how it looks, though, and I just find this to be super cool. The A for Apocalypse especially is great, because it's more squared off over here, and this is just a really nice tribute to the animated series, and it looks really cool. The legs are pretty simple by design. I like how it's sort of separated from the purple over here, which has sort of a cloth look to the boots that are just pure blue. It reminds me of something out of Transformers in a way, probably Optimus Prime, maybe from color, but I like how detailed it is, yet on solid block of color. Again, this is all reused from the Build-A-Figure, but it's still pretty cool to see in this kind of color scheme with this simplicity. Apocalypse comes with this alternate head that looks really awesome. I like the slighter, subtler shading on this. It's wonderful. The paint is really nice on the mouth, and his eyes look really less piercing and menacing. Again, it is a blue chrome dome all the way on the back, but I just find this head to be really good for when he's just over something and wants to blast it in half. The head can also swivel on the ball, but it's hindered by the collar. It can go up this far and down this far, crunching right into the collar. What is there? There's snacks in there, buddy, or something? What? He comes with these grabbing hands that look really good. They can swivel and then hinge right over here. They're just wonderful and good for some grabbing of the X-Men. I find them to be a really nice sculpt with no paint, but the purple is a nice touch. These fists are a little bit small for him, but they're good for punching at least. They do have some sharp detents in the hands, so just be careful when trying to hinge it. They'll probably get looser over time, but yeah, these are pretty good fists at least. So taking off his hand and then taking off this gauntlet piece allows you to put on this kind of gun piece right over here. It's hard to fit on his hand, but once you sort of stuff it in and wiggle it around a bit, it does fit with the fin down. It looks really awesome. There are 4 different ports actually, for weapons and ammo and blasts and stuff like that. It's kind of the same on both sides. I don't like how it's this kind of color here. I wish it was like a more nice silver or something, or maybe black even, just to make it so it would work with other Apocalypses, but I can't say I don't like it. It's pretty cool. He also comes with 3 different blast effects you can port onto this thing, as well as porting it down here if you want, but that kind of gets in the way of the other ones, so I just use the top one. And yeah, that kind of works for me, I guess. It looks super cool from the front. On the side, it looks awesome. Yeah, any way you slice it, this is a pretty cool piece. At least these accessories. The gun I'm kind of wary about. You can also swivel the accessories within the gun if you'd like, as well as swivel the gun a little bit at will, which gives you a little more dynamic posing. You can also plug the large blast of the weapon into his arm itself instead of his hand or the gun, and it looks super cool. Like you just chopped off his hand or something and there's like energy coming out of it, but that's just really neat. It's not blood. He also comes with these tubes that stick into his body, which is kind of weird if you think about it. The hooked part goes into his belt and the other part goes into his arm. Same with the other side. Hooked part goes into the belt and the other part goes into the arm. And it looks pretty cool. You can move him around at will if you want. You know, get some good range out of these. And yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing. It makes him look a little bit better to me. The tube also works on the gun and doesn't really hinder articulation, so that's a plus. So as far as articulation goes, the head goes back this far on the hinge. It goes forward this far, crunching into the collar. Goes up. You can also put it above here for a little bit more range. The arm goes up this far, down, sort of all the way around. This is really hindering it. On both sides even. It doesn't really flow with it, which is kind of a shame, as other figures do. We get a swivel at the bicep, single joint elbow on this big figure. We also get a crunch going back this far, forward this far, swivel all the way around if you'd like. The belt's a little bit hindering on that. Splits over here, goes up, back, all the way back with the knee, which is pretty good, I guess, for this kind of larger figure. A swivel at the top, a swivel at the shoe, which is great, a down and up and pivot, and 2 peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Really nice looking figure. The tubes are kind of hindered by the articulation, so I didn't include them. But yeah, there is a limit to that. Apocalypse stands at about 7.5 inches tall next to Jesse Hecht Creative. I can't believe I grabbed this while Apocalypse was sleeping. Oh man, a purple and orange blaster! I hope he doesn't find out. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also click the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. So here's the modern Apocalypse, the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure, if you will. A really nice figure. So let's take a look at this guy and see what's what. He's reuse. I'm just going to say that right now. A lot of him is reused from other Apocalypse figures. And I'm not going to really waste that much time in going into it. The boot's the same, the hands are the same, the body and the arms are the same. These are different though, they're nice. These are actually curved to the body, and I love this. It really works out for this kind of sculpting and body molds and stuff. He doesn't have that much different articulation as far as Apocalypse goes. He's just slightly more detailed, and I think better colored for me, at least, as far as this figure goes. The shoulder pads are really neat. The color is just awesome. And the head is my least favorite part of the figure. Yeah, the paint's really bad on it. It's just a mishmash of colors and blues and stuff. It's very not really well glued together. It's kind of a shame on their part as far as Hasbro goes. But quick articulation scheme for this guy. Head goes around. It's not as hindered as the other figure, but it's still pretty, bad. The joint there is kind of losing it because this is released back in like 2015, I think, or so, maybe 2016, 17, around that area. Yeah, the chest is really wobbly and wonky. It doesn't really want to stay in position all that much. The collar can come off on this figure. The arms do go up much better than the classic one, which is nice. Going around with the arms is proven to be a little more difficult, but you can manage it and keep this on here with, minimal changing to it. You're just going to scooch it around a bit, and I think I actually twisted it in a way. These are kind of weird tubes, but I like them better anyways. This does fall off sometimes. It's kind of an older figure, but I still love it. I love Apocalypse. He looks really cool. You get a swivel over here, hindered much more by that belt. The legs go out this far, up this far, down, back. This is all just rehash stuff. Yeah, you do get these little pieces on the boot that move around it. It's like a little sort of just like shoe tongue kind of thing. And his feet look really good. They do have the swivel. They do actually. Oh, that's cool. I forgot about that. They do have that same swivel. They do have the down and up pivot. You can move this up out of the way so it's not really hindering it that much. And yeah, 2 peg holes on the feet. It is a really nice figure that has a lot of cool stuff going for it. But I thought to myself, I can do more. I am very lucky this guy is a Build-A-Figure, so you could easily take off his arms, and this is where the modding and kitbashing begins. Roughly a year or so after Apocalypse released, Archangel released, and he came with this claw for Apocalypse that I give you these arms. You just get extra Apocalypse arms from the Build-A-Figure. I'm not sure who they came with. I believe it's Magneto or something, and porting him into him is pretty nice. They actually come with a port, so you could put the tubes in, which is very smart of them to do. I'm very grateful about that. This is a really nicely done piece now. It's a little bit better as far as this goes. Apocalypse can transform his arms into different things, and a claw is definitely one of them. I love claws too. It's just really awesome to me. The claw can swivel. It can also pinch. It can go down and up as much as you want. You can get a really wide grip or a thinner grip, and thinner, and that's fine. It doesn't really close all the way, but it's still pretty okay. And again, it does fit with this tube, which is a really nice feature. I had to heat, I believe, this one or this one up to put it in to fit into the other arm, because it was designed for one arm only. I think it might be this arm. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it just elevates this figure more, but we're not done. Once again, we take off the arms, and in 2017, the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 wave release with a character named Death's Head. He had a super cool arm that I thought, hey, I could probably use this, and yes, I did! This is awesome! Oh man, I am so happy to have these in my possession. You just pop it into one arm, pop it into the other, and what's great about it is the little gauntlets that Apocalypse had right over here, you take off and put on to the arm. It takes a lot of heat, a lot of patience, but the result is very, very worth it. These are so cool. I just love these arms a lot. The articulation is kind of okay. You can kind of swivel it at the bicep, and you can hinge it like where the elbow would be, but that's kind of it. You still can get some amazing posing out for this, though. It just looks really cool how it's all done. The tubes are popping out. I'm just so excited. I'm really loving this a lot. How this whole immaculately done arm fits on Apocalypse and just looks so organic to him. It's just fascinating how this is all done. But underneath here is the arm for Death's Head and the other arm for Death's Head, and you just have to take the pins out and then put the sleeve through on the arm, and then figure out how to wiggle it over and put the pin in, and then heat it all up and make it work, and then you pop it onto the shoulder pad for Apocalypse. This is already 6 arms I've already gone through on this figure trying to make this thing, but it is well worth it for all the great kitbashing and posing and just transformations that can be done with this guy. I love this. Apocalypse stands at about 8 inches tall next to Jesse Hecht Creative. Wow! I never thought I'd see it in person. It's the claw. It chooses who will go and who will stay. I wonder if it'll pick me. It moves. What's it gonna do? Ah! And finally, we come to the age of Apocalypse. Apocalypse! He is way different than the other two, but then again, they're all different from each other. We have a nice mix match of red and blue. So let's take a look at this guy and see what's what. The head is a huge laughing head, and yeah, it's not really glued on correctly, but this is one of the best paint I could find, at least, 2 years ago now? I love this head sculpt. It's wonderful. The earpieces are really awesome. The head is just a big old blue dome, and the face is just smiling maniacally. This is one of the best head sculpts I think I have. It's just so nice to see him smile. You go, Apocalypse. Be happy. The rest of the figure is mostly a rehash of the previous Apocalypse figures. The shoulder pads are way different. This one's loose for some reason. This one's pretty fine. The chest and legs and arms are the same. These gauntlets are different. I like this little power effect here. The hands we've seen already. That's pretty neat. The boots are way different. They're more clothy and have some silver and a little bit of red. It's a very weird mishmash of colors that are a lot of primary ones. The back is very plain, and get rid of this thing. Grr. But yeah, it's just still pretty good. I like the treads on those boots, and it's a nice figure overall. You can give him a cape too that's on here to put on, and it just gives him a little more menace and gravitas to Apocalypse. As far as accessories goes, he comes with this head that is very grumpy, but I love this head. It has been my previous Apocalypse head for a long time, at least on the Modern Apocalypse Build-A-Figure, and it just looks really nice. It has a great look to it with that grumpy face. It has some pretty good range on this, and it works out really well. I love how you could just bury his head in this thing, and he looks just really brooding. But it's a wonderful head sculpt, like this skull over here, as well as the hand that we've seen once before. This is a reused hand. This skull is just really wonderful. I love the paint on it. The detailing is nice. There's a crack in the back over here. The sculpting and paint on this is phenomenal. I have a bunch of these skulls, by the way. They're just super cool. And yeah, I have like 6 of these skulls. They're just great. There's no head port for anything, but just having them around somewhere gives you this foreboding kind of menacing situation coming up. It's like a warning having these around. As far as articulation goes, it's basically the same. The head, is fine and kind of confined to that color. The cape can come on and off at will. The arm can go up and down and sort of all the way around. This is so big and chunky, I kind of hate it. The hands are fine with their limited articulation and the crunchy kind of detents. You get even less on this thing. You get pretty good range on the hips. You get a swivel down here and a down and an up and a pivot, which is fine. It's pretty good articulation. The cape kind of hinders some posing here and there, especially going backwards if you want, and it does come out of the pegs. It is a pretty alright figure. It looks better than it articulates. This head also looks really good on Apocalypse. Again, it has that same kind of hindrance, but it's a little bit better and a smaller head. I like it on this body a lot. It works well with him. I just don't think the laughing one will work as well in this one. He's more serious. Apocalypse stands at, what a surprise, almost 8 inches tall next to Jesse Hecht Creative. Thanks for tucking me into bed, Apocalypse. Oh, and a skull nightlight? How sweet. Put on the nightstand. Thanks. Good night. Overall, these 3 versions of Apocalypse are really great. The retro-carded one has a really nice blocky color scheme, yet the face is way too detailed, I think, for the figure. The gun is alright for it, and I wish it was colored differently so I could use it with the other Apocalypses without having to do some paint or anything. I love those boots. They're really nice and blocky, as well as the blocky A for the character gives it a retro vibe and feel. The modern Build-A-Figure Apocalypse has a really nice head sculpt as far as that goes, with the body sculpt and coloration being wonderful. That belt is really nice, and I like how the new effects I've given him and arms have really complemented the figure. It's just super cool looking and very technologically advanced. The Age of Apocalypse figure has a really cool skull with it, as well as one of my favorite head sculpts for these Apocalypse figures in general, that laughing one. I don't think I'll ever take it off of him. I really like the cape, it's really good, yet it hinders articulation, but I just love the flow for it and how bombastic it makes the character and grand. The color scheme is kind of iffy for me, at least with the strange like metallic blues and reds and a little bit of yellow here and there, but it still looks kind of funny and kind of pretty fun, and I just like the accessories for him, especially that skull, and the arms I've given him are a little bit better suited for the character than they would be for the retro-carded one, which I don't think of even giving any special arms or treatment to, as I think these figures are great in their own rights, as well as giving them kit bashes. So definitely pick up the retro, pick up the Build-A-Figure, pick up the deluxe. None of them will disappoint you, especially if you do my kit bashes. More weapons is always a better thing, especially if you're Apocalypse. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Hecht Creative. Feel free to click like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment. You can also visit us at jessehechtcreative.com, where you'll find more reviews like this one. Thanks again for watching and keep being creative. Stay tuned!